What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to my channel where I help young professionals master their money so they can build their best life. I've asked my fiance to join me in today's video as we're discussing how to play an equal role in your relationship if one partner earns more money than the other.
That's right, and it's a very common situation nowadays whereby one partner earns more money than the other. Our relationship is unique in the sense that we've actually both been breadwinners at one point in time. So at one point I was earning more money than Patrick, and then it switched and Patrick was earning more money than me.
Today we're sharing our story as well as our strategies for creating equal balance in the relationship regardless of who earns what. Let's get started. When we first met, Bashan was earning a lot more money than me, and we moved in quite quickly together just after 4 months. And so when we started looking for a place together, the income gap became extremely noticeable.
It came down to what we could afford as a couple, and reality was I really wanted to live in a nicer neighborhood and a nicer flat that was actually outside of Patrick's budget.
And I felt pretty shitty about myself because I could clearly see that she wasn't happy about the places that were in my budget, and I could see resentment slowly starting to creep in.
So we knew that if Patrick forced me to live in the flat that I didn't want to live in, or if I forced Patrick to pay extra for the flat that I wanted, eventually this was only going to lead to us fighting.
There were 2 key things that we did at this moment in time which we think really helped us overcome this situation. Firstly, Basha didn't shame me, and this is extremely important. When we sat down to talk about how we were going to deal with the living situation, she never once made me feel like this whole situation was my fault simply because I didn't earn enough money. Instead, she was super supportive.
Secondly, I didn't impose my lifestyle onto Patrick and ask him to pick up the tab for it. The recommended average that a person should roughly spend on their rent is about 30% of their income. So at the time, 30% of Patrick's income was equal to 40% of our total rent and expenses in the flat that I wanted, which meant that I would have to pick up the other 60% of all of our expenses, and actually I thought that was very fair.
In the end, she got the nice flat that she wanted, and I didn't have to spend all my money trying to keep up. In a relationship, you have to work as a team to find ways to help each other, not use money as a weapon against your partner.
So as the person earning more money in the relationship, we think there are 2 other things that you need to do that are very important. First, don't treat the other person like they're on a financial diet and you get to spend whatever you want. What I mean by this is saying things like, oh, I wish we could go to that restaurant, but it's way too expensive for you. Or, you know what, I'm gonna go on vacation by myself this year just because you can't afford it. That is a sure way to lead to disaster. As a couple, your budget needs to factor in both of your incomes.
Number 2 is to set expectations as early as possible. By having that conversation before we moved in together, I knew that Basha was 100% on board with splitting the house costs 40-60. Therefore, I didn't need to worry or feel guilty about my lower contribution. It was agreed up front and we could totally move on. If you want tips on how to get the conversation started, check out this video that we created here.
And another thing is, we actually discussed that if at any point in time one person felt like it was no longer a fair situation, that it was our responsibility to bring it up, discuss it, and find alternative solutions.
Yeah, exactly. And we actually did this when I started earning more money and we actually got pretty close neck and neck of what we were earning. We revisited the splitting of house costs and we agreed to split things 50-50.
Now, fast forward a couple years and our situation has completely changed. So I actually decided that I was gonna quit my job. And for almost a year, Patrick was the sole breadwinner in our relationship. I was not contributing to the pot financially at all.
And given this drastic change to our routine, we had to sit down again and figure out how we were gonna manage as a couple now. It's so important that both partners understand that making more money doesn't entitle you to have more power.
Assuming all the power in a relationship can quickly lead to erosion of trust, feelings of shame, and resentment. The balance of power in a relationship has to be equal, and money should not be the only factor.
Nothing really changed in our relationship. We continued to make decisions together. And I felt like it was my job to ensure that Basha was included in and aware really of all the things that were going on financially.
I really appreciated that, but I still felt guilty. At the end of the day, I was taking time for myself and Patrick was out there working really hard to support us both financially. So it was really important for me to find other ways to contribute. So I had actually decided to take on all the household chores. Laundry, grocery shopping, cooking dinner every night, and packing Patrick's lunches were now all of my responsibility.
And I found this so helpful because it was just supporting me. I had more time and energy to spend time with Basha instead of doing household chores. It was so helpful. Now, we're not saying that this is how you have to do it, take on household chores, but what we are suggesting is that you should find other ways to contribute to your relationship. Money isn't the only way to do it.
Exactly.
Ultimately, it's just important not to punish your partner. We touched on this earlier, but saying things like, oh, we can't do certain things anymore because you quit, or we're not allowed to have as much fun because you don't make as much money, is just madness.
Instead, look to support your partner. Yes, once I quit my job, our financial situation changed quite a bit. But at the end of the day, that didn't mean that we weren't allowed to do stuff. We still went out to dinner, we still traveled, of course, in moderation. And in all fairness to Patrick, he had never complained about it.
The funny thing is that with Basha cooking most of the meals at home, it actually saved us quite a bit of money, and we were able to use that money to spend it on other fun things to do together.
And lastly, as the person who earns less money in the relationship, it is so important that you do not deny your own needs. I definitely went through this at the beginning. Since I wasn't contributing financially, I felt like I wasn't allowed to spend any money on myself. Getting my nails done or buying a new outfit was completely out of the question. I became so obsessed with saving money that I actually remember driving Patrick insane.
I do remember that. She'd freak out if we bought the $3.99 laundry detergent versus the $2.99 brand, and it didn't really matter.
You have to speak up and let your partner know how you're feeling and discuss your needs. When I brought this up to Patrick, he thought that, getting my hair done or buying a shirt once in a while was not a big deal. As with everything, just in moderation.
And I could understand, she didn't want to blow through her savings, spending all this money. I get it, but it was important that she actually didn't neglect herself. As a couple, you need to be on the same team. Be considerate of each other's financial situation and work together to find solutions that work for you both.
Absolutely. Money is a key player in your relationship, and it is important, but by no means should it hold you or your partner hostage.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you don't miss out on any content. I'm dropping videos every Wednesday and you don't want to miss a thing. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.